In the last 12 months, our lives have been transformed by wearing face masks, but are they affecting the way we communicate? We used to associate face masks like these with the medical profession, but they are now a feature of many people's daily lives. In the UK, they are mandatory on public transport and in many indoor spaces, unless you have an exemption. This is because of the protection they offer against catching the coronavirus, which causes COVID-19. But they can be a barrier to non-verbal communication as well as the virus. In the medical profession, doctors like Hannah are wearing face masks more often, not just in the operating theatre.
Wearing the face mask has been challenging in terms of the doctor-patient consultation, because ultimately you've got to build trust and forge a connection with the patient. And if that patient can't really see your whole face, it's hard for it to be as human and as personal an interaction. It can be really hard for them to develop that kind of trust with you and relationship with you. And obviously that's crucial to ultimately complying with the treatment.
For children, it can be even more unsettling. Some paediatric nurses have found wearing a face mask impacts how children respond to them.
I think the biggest thing is probably that first impression. You're walking into a room and you're a stranger. It could be late at night if you're starting a night shift and half of your face is covered. So you miss completely that kind of moment where you get to show that you're a friendly face, you're here to help. And it takes a lot more thought now to kind of stop yourself and go, actually, this poor child can't see my face. So yeah, I've kind of taken a moment, I suppose, to kind of think about how you can introduce yourself a little bit slower.
But struggling to read and communicate emotions is not only a problem in medical settings. A recent survey of 2,000 Brits found that 76% struggled to read the emotions of others wearing a face mask. I spoke to Dr. Klaus Christian Carbon, a professor of psychology at the University of Bamberg, to find out more about why having half of the face covered makes it harder for people to read our emotions.
If you look at a face and how you can change your face, you can mostly do it with the mouth. And therefore, the mouth is so extremely important.
Dr. Carbon tested the impact of face masks on non-verbal communication by asking people to guess the emotion of a person when they were and were not wearing a face mask.
My greatest interest was really to show for the confusions of emotions, because this is really the biggest problem, maybe. If you just say, well, I cannot read the emotion, you could of course ask. But if you think this is a certain emotion and you're very, very clear about it, or at least clear enough, then it's of course a problem.
Humans typically use holistic processing. This means we take information from every part of the face to decipher emotions. This is why Dr. Carbon found that when the mouth is covered, happy, sad and angry emotions are less likely to be picked up, and a disgusted face is often confused with an angry face. For people such as Deepa, who use British Sign Language, the whole of the face is important for communication.
I would say that the eyebrows can be quite expressive. They can show surprise, or if you're inferring that something is a question. But really only having just that part of the face can be quite tricky. The bottom half of the face really reinforces what the person is wanting to say. You can end up confusing emotions or confusing feelings just by reading half of the face. It can create a huge amount of anxiety.
Even without face masks, we rely on more than the mouth to read someone's emotions. Emotions leak out through the whole body. The eyes in particular can be very expressive. Some people have lots of experience using their eyes and body language to communicate how they're feeling.
I think the difference is that I've been wearing the face covering since a young age. So that's why it's a second nature for me to be expressive. And for people who just started wearing the mask because of COVID, I understand it can be harder for them, and they might not be able to pick up the signs or emotions as quick as myself. People can still see my eyes, see my eyebrows. They can actually catch my emotions. I have also got to learn to, use body gestures, voice tone, and so on.
Before face masks were a feature of everyday life, reading and expressing emotions was second nature to many. But we can adjust and learn to read people's emotions even when they're wearing a face mask by paying particular attention to the eyes and body movements. We can also help other people understand us better by verbalising our feelings.
Now more than ever, it's about perhaps verbalising the non-verbal cues. So previously, you might have just kind of leant in, nodded and all of this, whereas now you might have to actually say, that must have been so difficult, I really understand.
You have to ask kind of directly. If you can't always read it, you have to say, are you all right? And they have to tell me. Whereas before, I could tell. When there was no face covering, when there was no mask, I knew.
Without COVID-19 masks, we are not perfect, absolutely not perfect in reading facial emotions. So please assist all the other people, and give them signs.
Face masks aren't going away anytime soon. So let's help each other out by being a bit more expressive and taking the time to read other people's emotions more carefully. A key message I've learned is that we all need to be a bit more patient with each other. Social interactions feel more precious than ever these days, so let's do what we can to make them positive ones.